Okay, this is 9.1, expand and condense exponents. So let's look at an example here. If we have something like this is read 5 to the third power. Okay, the base is going to be the larger number, okay, in this case 5, and the exponent is going to be the smaller number that is kind of raised up into the corner. Okay, base is 5, exponent is 3. Okay, and what this means, I'm going to have you guys write this down. The exponent tells you how many times you multiply the base by itself. So pause the video and get this written down. Okay, so for this example, 5 to the third power means 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, it does not mean 5 times 3. Oftentimes students get this confused. That is not what exponents mean. Okay, so you'll often notice that with exponents, you get to fairly large numbers pretty quickly. So 5 just to the third power is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. Okay, so let's see, this would be the same even if we had a fraction. Okay, so if we have 2 and 2/3 to the third power, the base would be the fraction, 2/3, and the power would be 3. Okay, we can also have negative numbers. Okay, so our base would be -2, and the power or the exponent would be +5. Okay, so let's move on here. So now we're going to be condensing these expressions here. We have, so we're going to make them smaller. Okay, so this is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. All right, so this should be written out as 4 to the 6th power. All right, B would be -3 to the third power. C, even if it's a fraction, that's fine. This is 2/5 to the 5th power. Okay, we can also do this with exponents. This is x times x times x times x. So this is just x to the 4th power. All right, and so we might have a combination of the two. This would be 5 times 5, so 5 to the 2nd power, and y times y times y times y, so y to the 5th power. All right, example F, we got 3 to the 3rd power, x to the 2nd, and y, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 4th power. Okay, all right, moving on. So now we're going to be doing the opposite. We're going to expand these out. So what does 4 to the 3rd power mean? That just means 4 times 4 times 4. All right, 2/3 to the 5th. Well, that means 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. Okay? C is -5 to the 5th. So we want to make sure we put this in our parentheses. That's really going to be important when you're solving these, because your calculator won't recognize the negative in front if it's not in parentheses. Okay? Right, D, we have m to the 5th, so this is just m times m times m times m times m. Okay, pretty straightforward. E, we have 3 to the 2nd, so that is 3 times 3. And then we have x times x times x times x times x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, last one, 5 to the 4th, x to the 2nd, and y to the 3rd. So that's going to be 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times x, and y times y times y. Okay, pretty easy. Let's move on. All right, now we're on the back page of 9.1. We're going to be expanding and simplifying. We're going to start with multiplying. Okay, so let's look at A. We have 2 to the 2nd power times 2 to the 5th power. All right, so 2 to the 2nd, or 2 squared, is the same as 2 times 2. And then we have times 2 to the 5th, so that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So this is really 2 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th power. All right, B, we have 3 to the 4, 3/4 to the first power. We don't really write this 1 there, but it's there. Okay, and then 3/4 to the second. So this is 3/4. All right, that's just the first one, and then 3/4 squared is 3/4 times 3/4. So this is really 3/4 to the third power. All right, C, we have -4 to the second. So that is -4 times -4. And -4 to the third is -4 times -4 times -4, which is equal to -4 to the fifth power. Okay, this works for variables as well. So D, we have y to the third, which is just y times y times y times y to the fourth, which is y times y times y times y. So we have y to the seventh power. All right, E, we have some numbers here that don't have exponents, so we can just multiply those out. That would be 2 times 4 is 8. And then we look at the exponents. We have x to the third. It's going to be x times x. And x to the fourth is x times x times x times x. So this is going to be 8x to the seventh. All right, F, this one's a little bit different from E. We have the number with an exponent, and we have variables. So this first part is 3 to the fourth. So this is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And then we have d times d. Okay, that's the first part. And then we have 3 to the first power. So that's times 1, 3. And then d times d times d times d. All right, so what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be 3 to the fifth power. And then we're going to add up our d's. We got d, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is going to be d to the sixth power. All right, moving on. Now we're looking at powers. So we, just like we wrote on our notes, the exponent tells you how many times to multiply the base by itself. Okay, so A, this is 2 cubed, or 2 to the third power, squared. So this is really 2 to the third power times 2 to the third power. Okay, and then each one of these would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So this is really 2 to the sixth power. All right, B, all right, this one's going to be a lot. So this one is 5 to the third 4 times, because that's what our exponent tells us. So this is this, right? So this is 5 to the third power to the fourth power. So that's what this looks like. And then each one of these is 5 times 5 times 5, 5 times 5 times 5, 5 times 5 times 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay, so how many is that going to be? 3, 6, 9, 12. I think that's right. So this is really 5 to the 12th power. All right, I know that was a lot, but that's what it is. All right, C, this is x to the fourth squared. So this is x to the fourth times x to the fourth, which is really x times x times x, and times x times x times x times x. So this is equal to x to the eighth power. All right, B, we have 2x cubed to the third power. So this is 2x to the third times 2x to the third times 2x to the third. All right, so this is 2 times 2 times 2. So that's 2 to the third. And this would be x, 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 x. So that would be 2 to the third and x to the ninth. All right, last one. We have 4 to the third and y to the second raised to the third power. So this is 4 to the third power is y squared times 4 thirds times y squared times 4 third power. Oops. Okay, so there we go. That's what that means. And then each one of these, this would be 4 times 4 times 4 times y, 4 times 4 times 4, y times y times y, and 4, well, my 4's and y's look too similar. 4 times 4 times 4, and y times y. All right, so what do we have here? How many 4's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 4 to the ninth power. And how many y's do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y to the 6th. All right, that was a lot. Last thing. Okay. Looking at quotients or division. Okay. So what we have here is 2 to the fourth over 2 to the second. So this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 all over 2 times 2. All right, and we should notice that if we have the same number in the numerator and the denominator, they will cancel out. So for this one here, we're just left with 2 squared. All right, for b, we have x times x times x times x. Oh, one more, times x. And x to the third will be x times x times x. And just like with the 2's, we have the same number. We don't know what that number is, but we know it's the same, so these will cancel out. 3 of them will, and I'll be left with x to the second power. All right, now c, let's put our number there, and then let's see, we have x to the 7th, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 2 x squared, 1, 2. So the numbers we can treat normally. So this would just be 10 over 2, or 10 divided by 2. So this is 5. And then 2 would cancel out. So it'd be left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's, x to the 5th. All right, just a couple more examples left to go. All right, let's leave the numbers as normal for a second, and let's expand this out. We have y to the 6th, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing on the top and bottom will cancel out. So we're going to cancel 4 y's out. And again, we can treat the numbers as normal. So this 3 over 12 would reduce down to 1/4. And we have y times y. So we could do 1/4 squared, or we could write this as we could write this as y squared over 4. Either one would be fine. All right, last one. This looks like it's going to be a lot. So let's start in the numerator. That's going to be 2 to the 5th, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. X to the 4th is x times x times x times x. And y to the 5th is y times y times y times y times y, all over 2 squared, 2 times 2, x to the 3rd, so that's x times x times x, and just one y. There we go. All right, so what is going to cancel out? 2 2's, 3 x's, and 1 y. So what are we left with? 2 to the 1, 2, 3. So 2 to the 3rd power. There's just 1 x left. So we could put that 1 there, but we definitely don't need it. I'd rather you not write that. And y to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th power. All right, there we go. That's all this is. I know it's a lot of writing out, but I think it'll help you out understand these. So give the practice problems a shot. If you need help, come see me. Good luck.